Assalamu alaikum. How are you, students? I hope you will be good and learning your lessons regularly. So, this is our first online class after the reclosing of school. And according to the condensed syllabus, we have to start the poem Casabianca today. So, before reading the poem, let's get introduction of poetess and background of poem. So this poem has been written by Felicia Dorothea Hemans, and she was born in 1793 and died in 1835. Actually, this poem is a ballad. What is a ballad? A ballad is a poem which contains some story in it or some incident or some event in it. So the story present in this ballad, in this poem, is a real incident. And this is the incident of Battle of the Nile. This battle was fought between England and France. So there was a ship, there is a story of a battleship, and the name of this French battleship is La Orient. La Orient is the French, La is French word, and it means the Orient. So the chieftain of this battleship was Admiral Louis de Casabianca, and his young son was also present on the battleship. So chieftain's young son was also there on the battleship, and chieftain posted him on a place, and he was so obedient and faithful boy. And during the battle, the ship caught fire, but this young boy, this obedient and faithful boy, did not leave his place and kept waiting for the order of his father. So let's read the poem and do the elaboration, and inshallah we will come to know what is the story of this poem. So let's read the introduction of poetess, and after that we will read the poem and elaborate the poem. So Casabianca. This poem is written by Felicia Dorothea Hemans, 1793 to 1835. She was born at Liverpool, but the family moved to Wales, where she was brought up. She was quick in mind and had a fine memory. As a poet, she has been compared to Longfellow. Like Cooper, she loved the pathetic, and there is a great enthusiasm for chivalry and heroism in her work. She also stressed moral values. So this is all about the poetess, and few things we have to see here. First of all, like Cooper, she loved the pathetic. So what is pathetic? Pathetic means pitiful, distressing, or upsetting, or we can easily say that she loved tragedy. Some writers love to write tragedy, and some writers like to write comedy or simple fiction. So here we can say that she loved tragedy, and we can find great enthusiasm in her poetry for chivalry. What is chivalry? Chivalry is qualities of gallantry, courtesy, and honor. So let's read the poem. The boy stood on the burning deck, whence all but he had fled. The flame that lit the battle's wreck shone round him o'er the dead. Yet beautiful and bright he stood, as born to rule the storm, a creature of heroic blood, a proud though childlike form. The flames rolled on, he would not go without his father's word. That father faint in death below, his voice no longer heard. He called aloud, "Say, father, say, if yet my task is done." He knew not that the chieftain lay unconscious of his son. "Speak, father," once again he cried, "if I may yet be gone." And but the booming shots replied, and fast the flames rolled on. Upon his brow he felt their breath, and in his waving hair, and looked down from the lone post of death in still yet despair, and shouted but once more aloud, "My father, must I stay?" While o'er him fast through sail and shroud the wreathing fires made way. They wrapped the ship in splendor wild, they caught the flag on high, and streamed above the gallant child like banners in the sky. There came a burst of thunder sound. The boy, oh, where was he? Asked of the winds that far around with fragments strewed the sea. With mast and helm and pennon fair, that well had borne their part, but the noblest thing which perished there was that young faithful heart. So this is the poem, and now let's elaborate the stanzas. So the first stanza present here is: "The boy stood on the burning deck, whence all but he had fled. The flame that lit the battle's wreck shone round him o'er the dead." So in this stanza, actually in the complete poem, we get an impression, or we get a picture of a boy who was present on a battleship, and a fight was going on there, and he was standing on the ship deck bravely. So here in this stanza, the poetess is introducing a brave boy to us who was standing on the burning deck, on the burning floor of the ship. What is deck? Deck is the floor of the ship. And from where everybody had run away, everyone had run away, but he was still there, he was standing there. And the flames were burning the wreck of the battleship, the destroyed battleship. And the debris of the ship was on fire. The flames of fire were shining around the boy. And there were flames everywhere on the ship, and they were moving round the dead bodies as well. So fled here is a new word, fled, and this is the second and third form of flee, and flee means run away, and wreck is debris of the ship, and you can also say that destroyed battleship or destroyed ship or destruction of ship. And shone is the second and third form of shine. So come to the second stanza. "Yet beautiful and bright he stood, as born to rule the storm, a creature of heroic blood, a proud though childlike form." So in this stanza, poetess is telling us he was standing there on the deck of the ship gracefully and beautifully. Yet beautiful and bright he stood. He was standing there beautifully and gracefully. And he was not running away. He was not fleeing as everybody had fled. But he was standing there. It seemed that he was born to rule over the storms. What a beautiful sentence this is, that he was born to rule over the storms. He was born to control the storms of troubles and hardships and difficulties. And he seemed to be governing over that disastrous condition. This line, a creature of heroic blood, this line tells us that he belonged to a noble and brave family whose history was full of incidents of chivalry, bravery, achievements, and heroism. So, though he was young little child, but he seemed to be standing there proudly like a brave soldier. Right? So come to the third stanza. The flames rolled on. He would not go without his father's word. That father faint in death below, his voice no longer heard. So this stanza informs us about the state of battle going on the ship. So as the fight was going on, the ship caught fire and flames were spreading there everywhere on the ship. But the boy did not want to leave the place without his father's words. He was waiting for his father's words. He was waiting for his father's order. So he did not want to leave the place without his father's order. He was actually waiting for his father's command to leave the post where he was appointed, where he was sent by his father. But he did not know that his father had already been killed and he was lying somewhere in the ship and not able to listen to the voice of his son. So that father faint in death below, this line is telling us that he was unconscious then with his son's condition, with his son's situation, as he had already died. So come to the fourth stanza. Fourth stanza is, he called aloud, say, father, say, if yet my task is done. He knew not that the chieftain lay unconscious of his son. So in this stanza, poetess is telling us that he called loudly to ask his father if his task had been done, if his work had been completed, if his duty had been over, and if he had done his duty, could he leave the place? But he did not know that his father was lying down in death, and he was unaware of his son's situation and also unaware about the situation going on the battleship. So we end here today. Inshallah, in the next class, we will complete the elaboration of the poem. Till then, take care.